Hey guys, intro into the newest build. This is going to be my 1.9 version of a Wraith. Gonna call this one Fender Bender because my 2.2 was called Hit and Run. Anyway, whatever, just came to mind, and that's what I'm using. Now, this truck is a little bit different than a lot of the 1.9 Wraiths that have done before, even though there hasn't been a ton done. But anyway, instead of using SCX10, Honcho, whatever you want to refer to them as, axles that are narrower, I'm still using the Wraith axles, only I've narrowed them. I did a video on that a while back when I was going to use them under a Sportsman chassis of mine. Now, I've narrowed them to the width of about an XR10, so that's about 3/4 of an inch narrower than a Wraith axle, but still wider than an AX10, SCX10 type axle. So that's my game plan. I like the Wraith axles, I like the look of them, so that's what I want to use. And that also gives me the use of Wraith and XR10 style outers, the knuckles and C-hubs, without having to use the add-on beef tube type stuff. So, and narrowing these axles was actually fairly simple. Anyway, right now I've just kind of got it mocked up in about the position that I'm going to use. I've decided to set my wheelbase around 13 inches, or maybe just a hair shorter than that. Right now it's set up at about 13. Now, how I'm setting my wheelbase is, in the rear I'm using the trailing arms from the Vatera twin hammers. On here now I've got the plastic ones that I took off of mine when I put the Vanquish ones on, but I'm going to take those Vanquish ones and put them on here. I like the Wraiths better than the twin hammers. Twin hammers just never really did it for me, so that's why I want to build this truck anyway. So I'm going to take those off, put them on here, and run a dual shock setup in the back with them. And I'm going to do that by cutting off the entire back of this chassis and removing the center section and doing a whole new stiffy kit from the DMG that replaces all this, runs a bulkhead in the back, and then a narrow and shorter rear section that's built with modified shock mount locations to run a trailing arm type suspension. So that's the plan for the rear. Then in the front, I'm also going to set my wheelbase based on where those rear trailing arms set my rear axle, come forward to my 13-inch mark, or just a hair under, maybe down to 12 3/4, we'll see. And then I'm going to suck everything I can in the front back up, just so I can get the maximum approach angle. Right now this bumper's sitting out past the front of the tires, and no matter what, I do not want that. I want to bring that back in, and since the servo will be moved back, that should not be an issue. There should be no clearance issues in that area. Again, I'll be running some DMG parts up front to stiffen everything up, probably in the bumper area, unless I decide to fabricate my own. But Jerry's so quick and easy at it, or it's so easy to have him do it, and he's so quick that I might as well just use him. So, but we'll see there. There'll be a little bit of modification needed up front to get the servo to mount, and then I'll put the battery up front as well. But other than that, that's the basis of this truck. The rest of the truck, I'm still using the Wraith skid plate. It'll have a Wraith transmission in there, and we'll go from there. It'll have a lot of good parts in it. I was going to go brushless at first. I was going to use a Mamba Max Pro and a Rock 412, but now I'm kind of rethinking, and I might go with some of the brushed options from Holmes Hobbies. I'm thinking about just throwing a BR-XL in there and another one of those 13-turn Crawlmaster Experts that I put in the Poison Spider Wraith. That setup's been running so well, and it's so just simple. I can get the waterproof ESC and everything right from John, and I can just throw it in there and I can run anywhere without a worry. And I do plan to G6 this rig in the 1.9 class, so that would really be an advantage, and those brush motors are so simple. So right now, that is my game plan for this, and I think that this truck is, I've got an event coming up in about 5 weeks that is where I'm planning on running this. So it's going to be a project that I've got to get done by then, and I'll go over the steps as I go. One last thing is I'm going to show you, this is that narrowed axle. I cut it here and shrank it, and then I sleeved on the inside there. Again, you can go back to that other video and see how I did that. And then I've simply notched the truss a little bit and slid it over and drilled a new hole and attached it out here. As I get into links and things like that, we'll see how clearances go, and if I need to do any modification to this, or if I just need to go to an aluminum version that I can modify further. For the upper link mounts, I'm just going to shift them over. I'll run one on the outside here and one in this first notch to get my upper links centered again. That is, unless I went to like a 3-link setup where I could negate one of those upper links completely, and then it didn't matter where it connected. I could put it all the way on the outside, just depending on clearances. So we'll play these things by ear as it gets going. It's a little bit more custom. Right now I've got Wraith knuckles on there, and that's probably what I'll stick with. But we'll see how this thing goes. I'm looking forward to getting it running, and I think it'll be a really nice little 1.9 project. So hope you guys are interested in something a little bit different than the norm, and we'll see how it goes. So subscribe to the channel, and I'll try and get video updates on this thing as often as I can, and they'll probably be fairly regular, since this has got a shorter timeline, only 5 weeks before it's got to be done, running, and finished up, and I'd like to have it wrapped and everything by then. So stay tuned, and we'll see what we can do with it.